Listen, I'm a critic, and welcome back. We're continuing our NFL 2024 recap. We're talking about the Buffalo Bills. They got a lot of picks, and let's not waste too much time, but they overcompensated for a lot of things. Okay, so before we talk about the Bills, and I know the video is going to be very long, but I have to address. Remember, this is the Bill team that traded their pick placement to the Chiefs as they got a worthy receiver that will be used to smite them. So once again, the Bills must be a glutton for punishment because they once again did a trade with the Chiefs to get them a weapon that will probably be used to hurt them. Again. So their first pick was actually the first and the second round. And, well, in the second round, with the 33rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Keon Coleman, wide receiver, Florida State. They needed a receiver. I thought Mitchell from Texas was going to be the guy. I was wrong. They got Coleman, and I just can't help but feel like you needed a receiver. I'm not going to criticize Coleman too much here. I heard he's a great guy. He has been great in press conferences and interviews. But man, the Diggs thing, it just felt like a I mean, the receiving core is Coleman, Curtis Samuel, Chase Claypool, Mac Hollins, MVS, J.K. Halmer, Andy Isabella, Xavier Johnson, Brian. This receiving core does not scream, yeah. I mean, Gabe Davis is gone, Diggs is gone, so you couldn't get Cole Beasley back. This receiving core feels too new. It still has that new receiver smell, even though you get some players from other teams that have been going through their own journey, their own finding an identity of themselves in the NFL. But I can't help but feel like this is the team we're going to use to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. Because I feel like that's literally what everyone asks for about the Bills every year. Is this the team that we have now assembled going to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? Or are we still hoping that the Bengals are someone else to beat the Chiefs, so therefore we don't have to? Beating them in the regular season doesn't mean anything anymore, guys. I'm sorry. Because if it did, then the Chiefs would have lost to you in the playoffs. But they don't. They find a way. I don't care what voodoo magic they have. But the Bills, this team looks worse than it did last year. And last year I thought you had it. I thought you got the magic ingredient. I thought you got the right number of spice, and it didn't work. So, this is the team that's going to do it. I am so glad I'm not a Bills fan because right now I am incredibly frustrated for you. This is the team. A bunch of rookies and hand-me-down receivers. This is the team that's going to beat the Chiefs. We still got a lot more picks to go. Coleman, nothing against you. I'm hoping you go for 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns, dude. I hope you ball out. Because that might be the only way to give Bills fans, Bills Mafia, any hope that this Bills team knows exactly what they're freaking doing. I'm not a Bills Mafia, but I want to jump off into a folding table just to be like, oh, that made sense more than these decisions. With the 60th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Cole Bishop, safety, Utah. We know the Bills had to make sacrifices. A lot of their key players that they have drafted or have gotten on a discount have developed into Pro Bowl caliber players. We know this entire Bills team is on the verge of literally stripping every part. I get it. I get the decision making. But boy, it's hard to look at this team and say this team is better than last year. I'm dying here thinking about it. Cole Bishop, safety, Utah. We all know that the entire secondary, the whole secondary has been stripped because they had to. They're on the verge of being we don't have enough money to pay everybody, and we had to make tough decisions. And this is just a note to all NFL teams. Mahomes is not asking for not asking for like $1 billion. Brady for $1 billion. Quarterbacks I've won multiple Super Bowls. They're not asking for $45 million a year, even though they probably deserve it. Just a think. Just a think. So, Josh Allen, you want your money. Trevor Lawrence got his money. By the time it's recorded, Jacksonville just paid the man his money. Debate on that one another time. And Dak Prescott is still there, which we'll talk about when we talk about Dak Prescott. So, I still got 8 picks to go. They had to make do what they have. Utah was a formidable defense last year. I love the University of Utah, one of my dream schools I wanted to go to, but I was a dumb kid, so I didn't pay attention to going to Utah. Plus, I was in Georgia and Utah, and honestly, tuition would have literally cost me my entire organs and my servitude to a slave ownership for like 40 years. So, couldn't do that. But they addressed the defensive side they needed to. Cole Bishop is currently being viewed as the backup to Mike Edwards, who I know because he was a Buccaneer and a Chief, and he won rings with both. So he's a happy guy there. So at least you know we'll work with a guy to develop into it. We'll see how quickly he gets involved into the defensive scheme, but this guy feels like a now. We'll see how much rotation he gets involved and how the Bills' defense will change due to the lack of veteran leadership on that secondary. Moving on, with the third round, with the 95th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Dwayne Carter, defensive tackle, Duke. Now, I'm kind of glad they're running a 4-3 defense because I feel like Carter fits well to that defensive front. He is going to be learning under a veteran leadership in Ed Oliver. I can't help but feel like this sounds to be like a way to keep Ed Oliver as fresh as possible. So we will see what he does. But Dwayne Carter coming in interior defensive line, I think is because they want to learn how to stop the freaking run. Because when they had no linebackers against the Chiefs, they literally got destroyed by the people running the ball. So this just feels like as added meat on that defensive line to clog up the holes and stop rushing attacks. Interior defensive line rotation, fresh legs, keep Ed Oliver fresh for key situation is probably the idea. So yes, he's viewed as later, but he should be probably viewed as a now because he'll probably get rotation sooner rather than later. But I'm glad they're running a 4-3 defense. Then in the 4th round, with the 128th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Ray Davis, running back, Kentucky. Steal! This guy is a steal. I smell a steal. I see this just feels like a steal. I feel like this guy's athletic. I get Gibbs vibes from what Lions did with him from Alabama. I get that vibe that this guy Ray Davis, Ray and Davis, I get Day. That this guy is gonna come in. Yes, James Cook is your downhill runner, and he has been effective. No one's doubting that. I am not even gonna consider doubting him at all. But Davis is going to be your game changer. He's going to be your guy who's going to utilize on the screen. He's going to be able to get down on the flat. He's the guy who's going to make people miss. Davis is going to be your home. This guy, he's going to be a guy that's going to take a 2-yard catch and take it 80 yards to the house by breaking everyone's ankle along the way while also doing a ticker tape parade on his way to the end zone. Davis is going to be a game changer. He might be the reason that's going to help Josh Allen from Josh Allen having to run for his life to save the team because he can just dump it down to Davis and Davis can take off with it. I am telling you, this feels like a steal for Buffalo. If Davis shows out, do not be surprised. Because I have no money to put in, but if I have money, I will put it on him and say, watch him show out. Watch him make some noise. Watch him become a fan favorite. Not going to say he's a Rookie of the Year candidate, but I'm going to say, watch him be a difference maker right away. That's why I gave him the Covenant title of now. Because he will make an impact now. Especially in the receiving game. James Cook is a downhill runner. He might get some running, but I'm telling you, Davis, I'm getting, and I know this is a very weird comparison, but the best way to describe it, I am getting Reggie Bush vibes. More effective as a receiver than in between the runners. But I'm getting that vibe that he will make heads turn, and he'll give Bills Mafia something to be proud about. I'm telling you, just watch this guy. Or I can be completely wrong, and I'm hyping up hot air. Maybe. Then we go to the 5th round. With the 141st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Cedric Van Pran Gardner, center, Georgia. Now, let's see where they have my boy. So they have him still being projected as a center. But we all know that sometimes centers have that hidden gem of, I can also probably play guard. I can probably also play guard. I mean, we've seen versatility in offensive linemen all over the NFL. And the more versatile you are, the more valuable you become. But it looked like they have Mr. Pran Gardner as projected to be the corner backup in the center position. So maybe he's there to develop, learn, understand, become some valuable later. So I put him as a later, but if he is versatile to play multiple positions interior-wise, then we'll give him a later sticker to see how much he develops over time. But I have seen, as a Buccaneer fan, how terrible it is to have, or not have, a real center sometimes, because it does just somehow does not feel. It's like wearing uncomfortable shoes. They fit, but it just feels a little off. No one else notices, but you notice it. You notice something's wrong. So let's keep an eye on my boy here from Georgia. I mean, Georgia, prestigious school, hard rushing attack down the field. So who knows? This guy could be a development for the future. Maybe he's a 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-American. Who knows? But let's see how much he develops in the preseason, and we'll see if he gets some action other than center. Or maybe he becomes so superior he becomes the center by week 1. Keep an eye on it. I feel like this also feels a little bit like, what do you know we don't know? And hopefully it's good. I am going to butcher this poor dude's name. I'm doing my best now. With the 160th pick in the 5th round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Edifuan Ulosofosio, linebacker, Washington. I owe this guy an apology. Unless I pronounce it right, and therefore, I am a god. But more than likely, I mispronounced his name. So, another linebacker from Washington. I feel like this to help with the linebackers of Buffalo. Like I said before, against the Kansas City Chiefs, their overall core was pretty much depleted. And the running backs just had passed the first string, and they were pretty much fighting against secondary with their 250-pound frames against these 200-plus linebackers that can bench press a house, but still somehow can't wrap up a thick linebacker or a thick running back. Yeah. So, this feels like depth for development. Now, where they have him projectedly is surprisingly in the weak side linebacker behind Matt Milano and Deion Jones. Wow, Deion Jones is still in the league. I remember when he was in Atlanta, I thought he was the next great linebacker, and then he's here now, and I'm thinking, wow, I remember your name. And that's it. Not you playing at Buffalo, just your name. And also, you're the guy that intercepted Jameis Winston in his last pass to the Buccaneer for a pick six, which quite frankly cemented his legacy as a Buccaneer for life. So thank you, Mr. Jones. At least I hope it's the same Jones. I'm just giving Mr. Jones someone else. Nope, I was right. Yep. It was a second-round pick out of LSU to Atlanta. Okay, cool. So it's the right Deion Jones. I did not just literally just put a profile on another Deion Jones in the NFL. How racist of me. So, linebacker core of the defensive side, I feel like this is meant for depth. This has helped with it, and probably to help into not going through the same situation that happened against Kansas City in the playoffs by having linebackers healthy and with plenty of depth. So we'll see what happens in the preseason, and maybe not right away, but we'll see rotation. Maybe he gets some development. Maybe he's more of a coverage linebacker than a downhill linebacker that helps running backs. Who knows? But right now, let's see what he can do. So, keeping with the defensive side of things, I just lost my screen. Never mind, I got it back. With the 168th pick in the 5th round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Javon Solom, edge Troy. Now you know how I feel about. Small school players being drafted. Level of competition comes to mind. But then again, there was this. I don't know if you guys might know this guy, but this is this guy. I mean, he wasn't really great. I mean, he was a Hall of Famer. He won a Super Bowl. He was probably the greatest, prototype of a defensive player I've ever seen. DeMarcus Ware. Maybe you've heard of him. I don't know. If you haven't heard of him, don't worry about it. He was a nobody. He was a scum. He was great. DeMarcus Ware was like. DeMarcus Ware was a superhero in a Dallas Cowboy uniform, and as much as I'm not a fan of the Cowboys, I kind of really wish he would have won a ring with the Cowboys just to add his legacy as one of the great Dallas Cowboy defensive players to win a Super Bowl. But no, he went to Denver and won it with Peyton Manning, so sucks. But DeMarcus Ware was from the University of Troy, and he was a beast. He was wonderful. He was nice. I heard he was he's a very gentle giant. But the way he looked, the way he had his physique, he would look like the juggernaut of defensive players in the NFL. He was terrifying. And the thing is that he couldn't really like hide. He was like, I'm here, block me. And they're like, oh dear God, I can't block him. And then he gets sacks and sacks and sacks. Now, I'm not saying that this gentleman here is the next DeMarcus Ware, but I'm not going to say that, do not say that Troy cannot develop great players, because I just mentioned one that's probably one of the greatest in Troy history. I could be wrong. I don't know much about Troy football program history, but I know for a fact that DeMarcus Ware was one of the greats. Now, since they're running a 4-3 defensive scheme, AJ and Von Miller are projected to be the right defensive end. Both players are probably in age. So, Javon being the third stringer, he's being developed by two veterans, including a guy who wrecked up in Von Miller. Super Bowl 50 MVP, that guy. So he has great mentorship moving to the future. We'll see how quickly he gets acclimated to the system, but I know that Von Miller is probably going to be utilized heavily on long situations, clearly password, to keep Von Miller as fresh as possible, because I believe Von Miller is he still has it. Maybe doesn't have it to play every down, but I feel he has enough power, enough strength to get, I want to say Von Miller can still get 10 sacks this year. I'm seriously going to say it. Granted, they'll be all clearly situational plays, third and long, those big plays. But I think Von Miller can still get 10 sacks this year. I'm calling that. So we'll see how much Solomon gets involved in rotation, but he's behind two veterans, so I'm not saying you have to weigh him out because of age, but I'm just saying, dude, you might get more playing time than you think, so prepare yourself. Then in the 6th round, with the 204th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Tylan Grable, offensive tackle, Central Florida. Hey, local kid. Yeah, he's going to Buffalo. Nothing screams, oh my God, than coming from Florida, playing college in Florida, and then going to Buffalo. He's like, oh, it's so freaking cold. The longest thing I have is a tank top. What is this single-digit degree weather? You have that here? And you still go to school and work in 1-degree weather? What is this white stuff falling from the sky? I heard it snow, but I've never seen snow before. Okay, I'm criticizing the dude. For all I know, he might be accustomed to snow more than me. I should just keep my mouth shut. But I'm just saying, how funny is it to have a player that play their college lives in a Florida or warm climate, and they go to places like Buffalo and New York, places that are freaking cold, where literally a winter coat is considered a fashion statement for everyday uses. So, where everybody has a winter coat gift card for every, Burlington Coat Factory. That's the joke. So, offensive tackle protection clearly meant for the future. Now, where they have our boy is on the left tackle side department, which clearly means insurance and protection for Josh Allen. We all know that Josh Allen likes to risk his body, and we all freak out knowing that one day it might not work out. So we're trying to solidify by adding younger and more developed players in key positions, especially the left tackle, to protect Josh Allen, because we know that he will eventually become more of a run for first down and slide, please, instead of run for first down and take on a linebacker head on, please. Please don't do that anymore. Because we all know that we all wish to think we're invincible, but really the only thing that's invincible is that show, and that's a cartoon. So we all can't be invincible, no matter how much we try. So this clearly film is a development for the future for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So he may not get some playing time this year, maybe later, or maybe he'll get acclimated to the system as a package system, heavy package formation. Who knows? But right now it's later. But it's definitely meant for the future, especially they're focusing on the left tackle. That just to me screams insurance for the quarterback. With the 219th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Daquan Hardy, corner, Penn State. Now, we all know the secondary has been depleted because they just couldn't keep everybody. They didn't have enough money. Sometimes it sucks. It sucks. That's why you can see why they want these rookies to be starters so great, so that after 4 years, hopefully win a ring or two, and therefore they can say, you're too expensive, so we'll let you go, or you're just in the right amount of price range, we can keep you for another 6 years, and hope to God you don't ask for more after 2. Everybody wants their money, And sometimes it's okay to be selfish, but sometimes it hurts when you have to be selfish because it's the combination of you're right, but the team. You're right, but your family. You're right, but my ego? Yeah. So seeing Hardy come in here, he is viewed as the cornerback side behind Rasul Douglas, who I thought has not lived up to his potential he was when he was in Green Bay, and though he did came in as a backup and showed out, and that's why he got his contracts. So we'll see what Douglas can offer. But because the secondary is still makeshift, a lot of veteran players from other teams, and it's not really the Bills, core team that developed, he might get some playing time earlier than you may think. So keep an eye on him on preseason. He'll probably make his impact on special teams more than likely. But keep an eye on him. Rotational player, package scheme systems, younger legs, who knows? So I'm going to say maybe not right away, but if he starts by week 12 because of situations that we all know football players go through, I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised. Like I said, the Bills secondary is the one thing that probably took the biggest devastating, that and the receiving core of the offense. So, and then in the most interesting of picks, they picked a player where I had a hard time trying to find a picture of this guy. With their last pick, with the 221st pick in the 7th round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills selected Travis Clayton, offensive tackle, England. Sometimes I like when I hear things like a rugby player is playing the NFL. Ooh, that's so exciting. Or this guy is here. Ooh, so exciting. And then I hear this going, ooh, what are we doing? Okay. According to this, they have him particularly be, in the right tackle development. So him and Grable are probably developing for the future. There must be something there in his athleticism that takes time to develop. This guy clearly feels as a later, but I also can see it being as a failed experiment. I have seen players, like rugby players, make it to the NFL, and sometimes they succeed, but most of the time it's just, oh, that was cool. The rest of the time it's like, yeah, it's not working as what we wanted to. So we'll see. Even though I do have him as an else, because this could be a case of just, maybe a failed experiment, maybe a failed experiment, or maybe a diamond in the rough, or maybe they just don't have time to develop him the right way. But he could be just not now, later, and later could be just not on the cards, dude. Could be a case like that. This could be just a failed experiment, but we'll see. There has to be something there that made him willing to use one of their many draft picks to pick this guy. Yes, it was a late round pick. Yes, it wasn't considered a college of, Division 1A that we all can think of. But there must be something that the Bills have we don't see. And quite frankly, what if, man? What if this is a home run hit and we're just have to wait and see? So, that's the Bills, and what do I give them a grade? They're still contenders, guys. I'm sorry, they're still contenders. Even though I criticize heavily on a lot of the things they do, and just the question mark of saying, how can this team be considered a threat to the Chiefs, to the Bengals, to the Ravens, when a lot of their core offensive identity is gone, and their defense identity secondary is also gone. There's a lot of depleted team, but I just feel like I can't say nothing more. Can I see him go to the conference championship? Yes, I can see him get there. How? I don't know. I just see it, man. I'm sorry. I see it. I mean, I can't say not yet. No. I can't say better. What's better than winning the division the playoff way? I mean, they literally had to go on a win streak, and Miami had to literally fall apart in pieces for them to make it there. So I can't criticize too much. They're still contenders until otherwise. I can't downgrade them, but I feel like this draft class just feels like they're addressing, and I'm telling you, Ray Davis is gonna be a key factor. I could be completely wrong, but Davis just feels something there that could be a game changer. I'm feeling it in my bones. So contenders. There you go, Build Mafia. Now let my parents go, please. So, we're down to the last team, and I criticize them very much. We're going to conclude the AFC East by talking about the Miami Dolphins. And that's all I'll say for right now. This video's too long. So until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.